Welcome everyone to another episode of Price Targets with your host Bitcoin Jack. It's Wednesday. Happy to have you. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. I think there's some interesting developments regarding my bearish stance since Sunday. We'll have a talk about that and potential implications for price. I'm not really sure what happened with ETH. Honestly, haven't really been looking at ETH much. Looks like it's still stuck at the blue box since forever. Let's have a little chat about Econs first. They're sponsoring the content, so thank you for that, first of all. Second of all, they're launching their exchange token, EQ. It's spelled EQO. And this token will give you all kinds of benefits, ranging from fee discounts to access to airdrops. And it's going to be a limited supply, minted over a 2-year period based upon the volume you trade at ECOS, and at the same time, you can start staking it, and staking it over time will give you a portion of the mint too. So there's a link in the description about the token itself, and it would be really cool if you can check it out. Thank you, ECOS, for sponsoring, and let's jump into Bitcoin. I would say that for me, the bearish bias, well, the neutral to bearish bias that we talked about, had its merits. Like last video we talked about, let me clean up some of these lines first. We talked about the confluence of the previous all-time high level, the dotted line here at, what was it again? 58,367 from this level here. And price bounced into it, got rejected, sold off into the 53 areas, and now has a pretty decent recovery back into the range. So essentially, let's say we have the old 786 level here, kind of marks the range bottom. Not exactly, we could probably pull it down a little bit like this, but we have a range between red and red, right? I would have expected more downside, I guess, and that would have been quite a bit more bearish. And the fact that we bounce here, considering the end of the month is nearing, I think volatility is just going to die down here. Maybe price is going to come, maybe price is going to come up here, sell off a little bit, just range, and then pick a direction. The expiration of the options is going to be at 8 o'clock in the morning UTC time on Friday. A lot of people say that the dampened volatility is because the market makers are trapping us between two levels, and price can become volatile again after the expiration. I'm not really sure. I'm not an options expert. What I do know is that I would have thought Bitcoin to come down here by now. It's still possible. I mean, we could still, come down here, bounce, and then go back up. But I think it's promising that A, we respected the trend line right here. B, Elon Musk announced they're accepting Bitcoin at Tesla right now. I think that's just, just a general signal to the rest of the world that might be a reason to start buying Bitcoin. And then the other thing I think is noteworthy is this could be a completed structure. And this is a bit of a stretch, I'd guess. But I don't know if you've ever heard of running triangles. Let me clean this up a little bit. But there's a possibility that this entire structure is a triangle. And it's kind of unusual I'm not sure if I've seen them before, but this kind of is an entire wave in itself. So wave 3 of this entire bull run, right? So then wave 4 could have been this, but now I'm kind of thinking that this might be A, B, C, D, E, and Bitcoin is holding its 1 trillion market cap, which has been, a significant level actually, if we consider the fact that there's a huge liquidation right here. A lot of volume happened in this thing, so it kind of got rejected at the 1 trillion price level here, sold off, reclaimed it, and now it's holding it. And you could say, sure, 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests. So if you come back down here, it's kind of shitty. I'm not really sure if you can count this one as a test. It kind of reminds me of the price action here. We had basically this zone right here, and at 1, 2, 3, arguably a 4th right here, and then rallied. Expiration is going to be in 2 days, right? So less than 48 hours. I think the right way to play this remains to be cautious, right? There's going to be some volatility in the range here. There's going to be some fuckery. But I have a good feeling that we're not going to come down here again. And I think the odds have increased that we're not going to see the low 50s. 53 held. Maybe it's going to come down once more. Maybe it's going to test it, then come back up. But in general, I think that the market is going to try and become bullish into the new month. So it's going to be a little bit of a slow price action around here into next week. Maybe we're going to pump over the weekend. Maybe it's going to get, remain contained around that time. But I'm not going to be looking to add to my hedges. So essentially, I've put my stops in on my hedge, and we'll let this kind of develop from here. I don't think it's wise to be overly bearish here, and I'm also cautious on getting my longs in right now. But I think there's a good opportunity to start looking for long setups over the next couple of days. There might be some volatility as options expire. I'm not really sure how that's going to work out. For that reason, it's also maybe a very wise and smart decision. Let me take a sip of coffee. Maybe it's a very wise decision to just hold off until the weekend and then use the invalidation that we talked about in the previous video, which essentially is if price manages to come back up here, then I'm pretty sure that I want to take the risk and get long. And the other argument that you can make is that if we come back down here, or potentially down here, it's it could be a wise decision to actually start scaling into longs, because at the end of the day, this is 15%, and even from here, it is already 6%. So, do you wait for the breakout trade? Do you start scaling in as we see corrections further down? I think there's something to be said for both, and you could probably craft a plan to kind of do both. Get some risk as we go lower, and then as we start claiming levels, start adding risk to the ID. So basically, if we kind of ignore this right here, we're retesting this level right here for the second time right now. We swept the low here, and I think this is a full structure. I think this right there could be an ABC, and that could potentially be enough. I mean, obviously it could morph into some 5-wave kind of structure. I think, especially considering the Musk news, I think a lot of people don't think it's significant, but it's just a development that Bitcoin is becoming accepted on as a payment, and Elon is not going to sell the Bitcoins. He's going to receive them and hold them, which is pretty cool too. So where can you expect triggers to kind of start looking for longs? Usually I kind of like these situations where you have a little trend line, hit it here, come down, but I generally like them most if they actually make a significant low. Right here it's like a double bottom, which argues that it's not as significant. So trigger absolutely above here, and you could argue that once we get above here that it's it's time to start looking for longs as we retest levels. I think that's kind of the gist of it. I'm not saying that we won't go lower. Move slowly, in my opinion, and I guess, if you really want to have confirmation, just wait. And I do think that upside targets are high enough to miss out on the first part. And if I'm correct about the running triangle situation, so the running triangle is a triangle where the first high and then the second rally kind of like this. So generally what you see is something like this. This is a triangle like that. And now this is a triangle, but this part kept here. So it's quite a strong triangle where the B wave far exceeds A. So the top of A. So A, B, C, D, E. Arguably, we're right here at this point here. So it's interesting. Generally, when you kind of see such strong patterns in a strong market, especially considering Bitcoin is always an asset that moves in parabolic advances, that kind of suggests that the fifth wave is going to be extended. So that could really mean some firework. If we consider the length of wave 3, which I think is from 10K to 30, I think we could see a similar extension. So let's see. Okay, so this is a linear scale. Probably need to calculate it with the logarithmic scale, but let's say this is where wave 3 started, and then this entire thing is weirdly enough wave 4, right? And we can measure the price from here to here and add it to where wave 5 starts, which is, if this was the bottom at 53, that's where it starts. So if you use logarithmic scale and a big extension would be 1-to-1. So the size of this move added to move here, and then 1-to-1 on a logarithmic scale is exceptionally high. So the points, the 0.618 is probably already a lot. That's kind of a pretty sick projection. Wouldn't surprise me if this starts to break out from here. And I think that's it. I mean, let's have a look at ETH. I think if that's going to happen, so if we get the confirmation of the breakout on Bitcoin, and let's say the confirmation is once we make a new all-time high, right? So price comes up here, and we do get that extended fifth wave. So we go to 100 something K in the next 5 weeks. At that point, I don't see any reason for ETH BTC to rally, to show any strength. So in that case, you want to start longing it as Bitcoin starts to peak. So in that scenario, I do think that it's likely that ETH BTC is going to come down here or potentially even lower. If Bitcoin starts to sell off, maybe a different story. But then again, I don't like trading ETH if Bitcoin looks like shit. So I guess Sunday is going to be the day where we're going to get some more evidence of how to position ourselves in the market. I'm going to keep my hedges, put my stops in, wait for the triggers, and I think I'm 100. Like, if in case price comes down here, I'm 100% going to close my hedges. And if we get below here, that's where I think we're fucked. And then the next level of support is going to be around this region at the range low, and not really sure if I want to think about that. So keep your head cool, and see you on Sunday. Peace.